Welcome to An American Homestead, podcasting live from deep within the Ozark Mountains at an elevation of 2,200 feet. It is, oh my goodness, it's morning time. I usually do this at night. It's 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, and it's great to be back. We're going to have a great show for you guys today, and we're going to talk about some news items, all kinds of news items, some really funny ones, in fact, some sad ones. Also, we're going to have trivia at the end. So if you want to win trivia, we're going to be doing a giveaway, another Nixall giveaway for whoever answers the trivia question correctly at the end. And we're going to have a fun time. So hope you stick around. It's not going to be that long of a podcast, but I haven't done one in a while, and so I figured now was the time to go ahead and catch up on all that. So these news items that I'm collecting all the time just don't go out of date. So, all right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you're here. We're podcasting live right now on DLive and also over at Facebook and YouTube. And I'll go over to the DLive chat later on. But right now, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and if you want to participate in the chat, you need to go over to DLive. There's a link in each one of the descriptions over at YouTube and Facebook to get over to DLive, but that's where I'll be paying attention to the chat. And if you want to do the trivia, that's where you're going to have to go so that you can participate and give the right answer and possibly win the Nixall. So this is a first aid solution from Nixall.com. They are today's sponsor. They do not pay me a dime to be a sponsor. I just love their products, and I've used their products on animals and here on my family. My family uses their products. We've had great success with them. Been using them for years now, at least a few years, and they have given me a number of items to give away to my audience, and so that's what I do. So they're not paying me to promote their products, but they do give me some products to give away if I choose to do that because I told them I would, because I believe in their stuff, and so it works real well. Okay, so we'll do the giveaway trivia question at the end. Let's go ahead and start some of the news items here, what we've got going on. I need to close some of these. I'm going to close them as they go because I think it's taxing a lot on my computer here. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to screen. All right, here we go. So first news item, farmers slam police response as concerns rise over illegal sheep butcherings. Now this was news coming out of the UK, and because I do have sheep, this caught my eye, and naturally most of these articles that you see were either found on Drudge or on my news feed over at Facebook, some of them, and some on Twitter. This one says, a farming family has hit out at the way police handle rural crime incidents after 14 of their sheep were illegally skinned and butchered. 3 Texel ewes and 11 lambs were butchered between 4 p.m. on Sunday, July 7th and 4 p.m. on Monday, July 8th. But Katie Payne, almost said Katy Perry, and partner Phil Neal, who owns Park Inn Farming, Crick, were told the incident was not an emergency. 12 of the sheep were stolen and the remains left in the field, and another 2 had their throats slit. Miss Payne discovered the dead sheep at about 3 o'clock on Monday afternoon on the way home from the school run. I guess that's how the people in Britain say when they take their kids to school. They call it a school run. Mr. Neal said she came across this mound of skins and heads and intestines. We could not even pull the pile apart to count them. Katie called 999, which is their version of 911, and was told to call 101, but was put on hold. I rang the local police and complained that nobody had come out to see us. I was told the police did not see it as an emergency and was not life or death. The first officers attended the scene almost 24 hours after the couple reported the incident, with an officer from the Wildlife Division also attending some time later. My microphone doesn't sound like it's near me. It's not. Let me move my microphone over here. On Tuesday afternoon, we had an officer from the Wildlife Division come out, and he did the best of what he could, which was tell me that he covered 600 square miles on his own and that he had limited resources. This is not a problem that is going to go away, and the police forces need to find a way to tackle this. I put it this way. If I enter your garden carrying a knife and a view to rob you or take your dog, it is armed robbery. If you enter my property with a knife and kill and steal my sheep, there is not a bit of difference. It came as a similar incident happened in the Rushton area of Northamptonshire, where 2 shearing rams were butchered in the paddocks. In Lancashire, the 3 men were caught in the early hours of July 8th attempting to butcher tups. I guess that's a way to, I don't know, what is a tup? At Laneside Farm, Blackburn with Darwin. Northamptonshire police said it was investigating the incident, appealing for anyone with any information that may assist their inquiries to get in touch via 101. So, this happened in Great Britain, and if you haven't kept up with the news of what's going on in Great Britain, especially London, large parts of Great Britain and definitely London are turning into high Muslim areas. Now, London is not such a big deal in Great Britain isn't such a big deal when it comes to sheep. People who live in the UK have a far larger appetite for sheep than people in America do. Okay, just is the way it is. In fact, sheep is way cheaper in the UK than it is in America. Here in America, if you go to a butcher shop, a good leg of lamb will cost you about $100. Very expensive. But in the UK, there are so many people who raise sheep. Sheep is heavily imported from Iceland. There's a lot of people who raise sheep in the UK, all over the UK, and so it's a very much an accepted meat product that people consume over there. However, many of the Muslims who are moving into that area and into Europe in general, their main diet is either goat or lamb, and so they don't eat anything else. And so they say that there were some people caught butchering sheep. They don't say anything about what their nationality was, if they're just people living in Britain. But this is getting to be a bigger concern. And it's because of the Muslims who are immigrating in this area. And it's not being racist, it's not being bigoted. That just is the way it is. It's a rising concern. It's happening more and more often because more and more Muslims are moving into the area. And if you do some research, in fact I did before the show, that there's been 6 new mosques in just the last 10 years in Northamptonshire. What's it called? Northamptonshire, or whatever it is. 6 new mosques and learning center, Islamic schools had been constructed in this area. So there is a growing Muslim population. There is a number of large sheep farmers. There's a goat farmer who is not far, maybe an hour or two away, that I talked to a couple years ago. And his number one, and this is, where I live. This is about an hour and a half away. His number one customers are Muslims, and he sells goats. He has like a herd of 100 goats or whatever. Americans just don't like lamb. They want beef, or they like chicken, or they like pork, but they don't eat lamb. And it's the Muslims who definitely do it. And so this is becoming a larger, I think we're going to see more and more of this as time goes on, because the farmers are just not able to deal with this sort of slaughter. And it's really sad that this happens. But the farmers are going to have to adapt to this and start to increase security and ways to keep their sheep or goats safe. Next article. Coyote enters doggy door, kills dog inside Southern California home. Buena Park. A homeowner in Buena Park lost his dog after a coyote got into his house. The wild animal snuck inside through his pet door. His other dog was seriously hurt. This was all covered in blood, all of this area. Scott Goodling says a coyote came into his home through his doggy door and attacked his dog, Murphy. Last Friday night, and what's that phrase? Murphy's Law. He named his dog Murphy. Last Friday night in Buena Park, it's the second time he says that his dog Murphy has been attacked by a coyote. Murphy has stitches everywhere. He's lucky to be alive. The dog survives 2 coyote attacks. What dog survives 2 coyote attacks, he asked. His 10-year-old Maltipoo, Sally, is missing, and he suspects that coyote took her last Friday night. Sally is missing. She's just the sweetest little dog, and she was just carried away. She is very tiny, he said. A neighbor's security video caught the pack of coyotes in the neighborhood around the same time his dogs were attacked. The neighbor told us his cat, so the neighbor told us his cat, seen here, and that's in the video up here, you can watch the video, was killed by a coyote. Over the past year, they've really increased in numbers and especially became more brazen and bold, Goodling said. The neighborhood now wants city leaders to do something about the roaming coyotes. See, if you haven't detected any amount of empathy in my voice, because there is none. And I think it's important to be empathetic to people who go through these sorts of things. But, having been a trapper and having dealt with this kind of nonsense over the years, even long before I moved out on the homestead and off grid, There are so many people. Now, where I live, this is called Chesterfield. Where I used to live in St. Louis, there was a place called Chesterfield. I didn't live there. It's where the rich people lived. Okay, the rich people lived in Chesterfield or the Ladue area of St. Louis. If you know the St. Louis area, this is where the rich people lived. Okay, and the rich people in that area had lots of coyotes, they had lots of deer, and they had lots of trappers who were coming out, and they were trapping the culverts and the creeks, and they were taking coyote and raccoons and things like that. And the rich people areas of Chesterfield, Ladue, and others all said, no, we don't want people trapping out here. We think it's cruel. We think that's inhumane that you would trap animals. And so they passed ordinances to keep the trappers. Thanks for the lemon. I appreciate it. They keep people out of those areas like Chesterfield and Ladue in the St. Louis West County area. Some friends of ours were telling me that they were recently going to travel through Chesterfield or travel through St. Louis, and I told them, stay out of the east side, stay out of the north side, stay out of the south side. In fact, just stay out of it altogether. Go through 270 and drive right around St. Louis and avoid the area altogether. Because 270 basically runs through what borders up to Chesterfield and Ladue, some of those nicer areas of St. Louis, the only nicer areas in St. Louis. And these ordinances basically banned the trappers, and then after a few years, people with little dogs like this, little Maltipoos like Sally, and other dogs like Murphy, started getting eaten. And it's because the trappers were banned and the coyotes exploded in numbers because, number one, you couldn't hunt there. And so the coyotes were feeding on the deer and anything else they could get a hold of because you couldn't. There's plenty of food sources there because it wouldn't hunt the deer. And the coyote population exploded. Absolutely exploded. And then the homeowners in these areas started crying out to their city leaders, please, you've got to do something. Our little foo-foo dogs are being eaten alive. Well, that's because you got rid of all the trappers. You got rid of the one and the biggest predator of these coyotes and other predators. And so now they're exploding in numbers, and you brought this on yourself. And so it's wherever this happens, it's the same story. And we're going to go have another story like this in a minute that just shows, how soft people have become. And they are now, running from their own shadows that they could be taken care of if they had any ounce of self-reliance. And so, but they don't. They just don't. So they're little foo-foo dogs, the Maltipoos, Sally and Murphy, are being eaten because they refuse to allow people to do what needs to be done. So I have very little empathy for this. And what they need to do is go ahead and grow a pair and take care of this problem themselves, or begin trapping or letting other trappers come in and deal with these issues and keeping these coyotes' numbers down where they need to be. Okay, next article. Yacht owners ditch life on land for the high seas. Now, I can't read you the whole article because it's the Wall Street Journal, and it is behind a paywall. But I'll go ahead and give you the ditch of it. What's the word? I'll give you a quick synopsis. If you want to, you can go find this article by just entering the title into Google. And because if you haven't been to the Wall Street Journal lately, usually they give you a couple free articles, to start off with. But because I'm always reading the news, they don't let me do that. It says, Gary Hubbard didn't envision a quiet life for himself and his wife, Libby Hubbard, on a solid ground. He wanted to retire aboard a yacht. With the help of Phil Friedman, managing director of the yacht consulting firm Port Royal Group, the Hubbards spent 4 years and roughly $5 million, good grief, to design and build a retirement home that would take them from the Texas coast to Florida and from the Bahamas up the eastern seaboard. So this comes up every so often. I wouldn't say a lot, but it comes up every so often since I've been doing the homesteading thing. And people say, hey, Zach, what do you think about, homesteading on a yacht or a boat? What if we could just live on a boat? Wouldn't that be cool? That sounds nice. And it does sound nice, and it looks nice, and you think about it. But when you think about and you come to the realization that piracy is still, and criminal activity on water is still an issue that happens quite often. If you talk to people who live on these yachts and stuff, they do have security issues and they do try to go to ports where they make sure that their boats are going to be safe and that they can stay for the night. Just going out in the middle of the ocean, setting anchor is a dangerous proposition. Because if someone catches you on radar, a criminal element, they can come up to you in the middle of the night, maintain their distance until the time is right, and then board your boat. Because there really is no, think about it, there's no locks. Anyone can come up to a boat and board a boat. There's no walls there. There's no fences. And so you don't have a locked door. And they can actually take over your boat and hold you captive until you give them money or whatever, or they can take what they want or throw you overboard and take your boat. All this stuff does happen a lot of times. That's where a lot of the boats that these drug cartels get, and they use it for running narcotics until the boat is eventually reported stolen, and the Coast Guard, they understand they have to. The criminals know how to basically remove all kinds of transponders and things that identify the boat to radar. And so they use the boat until such a time where they can't anymore, and then they ditch it, they sink it. But they use it for running drugs, so they just kill you and throw you overboard. There's a lot of security issues with living on the water. So unless you do it right and you take the right precautions and have the right security protocols in place, it's not something I would do. But this is talking about people... listen, if you're spending $5 million to design and build a retirement home that's a boat, maybe you have the foresight to protect your investment with the proper security. But for other people who don't have $5 million to build a boat, it's not maybe something you might want to do. It might be better to put that money into a piece of land somewhere. I'm just saying. All right, next article. This one here. Insurance claim denied after destructive Clearwater Gator break-in. So I saw this week, July 16th, this article came out. It says, Clearwater, Florida, a Clearwater woman became something of a celebrity when a giant alligator broke into her home back in May. But now she says she's getting anything but the A-list treatment from an insurance company as she tries to claim the damages the gator left behind. At the end of May, Mary Wishhusen, I'm just going to go with that, woke up in the middle of the night to find an aggressive 11-foot long gator had broken into her Eagles Landing home. The creature smashed windows, wine bottles, not the wine, and glass furniture and left holes in her walls. The giant window toward the front of her home is still boarded up with plywood. There's no one willing to help me fix this problem, and I don't have the money to fix the problem, Wishhusen said. Wishhusen filed a claim under her homeowner's insurance for the window and wall damage, only to have Florida Peninsula reject the claim about a month later. Because it was a gator that broke it, and they don't cover gators, she explained. If it was wind, they would have fixed it. If it was anything but a gator, they would have fixed it. I would have said, well, the gator was causing vast amounts of wind to occur in the house. Thus, the destruction. That's what I would have put on the insurance claim. 8 on your side looked into the matter and found that some homeowners' insurance policies will cover damage caused by wild animals. However, Wishhusen explicitly states damage from rodents, reptiles, and other animals is not covered. We reached out to Florida Peninsula to find out if gator damage would or could ever be covered under one of its policies. Don Silver, a publicist for Florida Peninsula, told us that because the claim is on a condo, that most structural and exterior damage claims are typically handled by the association's policy. So here's the deal, folks. This is one of the reasons why. And again, this kind of goes back to the whole, Coyote thing and the whole boat thing, homesteading on a boat. People ask me, hey, Zach, I'm thinking about building a homestead in Florida. No. I met my wife, Jaimie. We met in Florida. We met on Cocoa Beach. It was a singles event put on by a Baptist church, and that's where me and her met, on the beach in Cocoa Beach. And we got married. I finished college. She had already finished college before, and I was a little late getting started on college because I was in the military. But I finished college, and we promptly moved back to Missouri because I was in Florida long enough going to college and I was always an outdoors guy. I grew up in the woods. Where I grew up, it's not really woods anymore. It's more suburbs. But back when I grew up, it was nothing but cornfields and soybean fields. But today, that's just not the case, and I knew I wanted to go back to that, and I love the outdoors, I love hunting, and I realized long ago after getting to Florida, after I got there, that you are not top of the food chain in Florida. There wasn't a month, I'm not kidding you, there was not a month that went by where a jogger or somebody did not get hauled into the woods by an alligator on a walking trail or jogging trail or bike trail or whatever. You're not top of the food chain there. And I'm like, I'm not living there where there's giant dragons, capable of killing you and eating you inside of every pond, or potentially inside every pond and creek or river, or just laying in the woods somewhere. I'm just not doing it. So I would, if you want a homestead in Florida, I would recommend no. I'd recommend against that idea. There are plenty of places. If you just love Florida, great. Listen, 50 years ago, no one lived in Florida, or very few people did. Daniel Boone visited Florida, and he said himself, look it up. Daniel Boone said, it's a nice place to visit, but I just couldn't live there. Just too hot, too many mosquitoes, too many diseases, and dragons that will eat you. Okay, moving on. Next article. So this is my favorite article of the week. This was amazing. Jersey is being terrorized by 100-strong gangs of feral chickens, waking up locals and chasing joggers. Now, this is not New Jersey. This is Jersey. You realize that people moved here from England or Europe, and they named a lot of the towns after names of towns where they left. And Jersey was one of the towns people left, and they came over and they named a piece of land New Jersey. So this is in Great Britain. The UK says Jersey is being terrorized by hordes of feral chickens, which have been waking up locals, damaging gardens, and even chasing joggers. It boggles my mind. Okay, residents have been making complaints about the birds, which have also become a traffic hazard. 2 small culls have been carried out, but they continue to cause chaos. The environment minister has admitted. It is believed the chickens were once pets which were abandoned. Before rapidly breeding, they now roam the British island in 100-strong groups. There are no foxes in Jersey, which means the chickens are running around unchecked without a natural predator. See, that's the issue. We should be the natural predator. This is a chicken dinner waiting to happen. This is food. And you'd be like, oh, well, Zach, chickens that are above, are older than 12 weeks, they start to get tough. Well, that's why you have a pressure cooker. Pressure cook the chickens. I mean, good grief, people. We are so soft that people will be chased by something that's not even a foot tall. It's like that movie Chucky. It's a doll. One good swift kick should end the movie. But one good swift kick should end the chicken. We used to have some roosters that were kind of aggressive, and they would chase the kids. And I had to sit the kids down and say, kids, Joshua, Caleb, these chickens are smaller than you are. They should not be chasing you. And they were like, yeah, you know what? You're right. And so after that, the chickens didn't chase them anymore because all they had to do was give them a good swift kick. And the rooster learned real quick. Well, you eventually ate the roosters. But they learned. And here we are. Chickens are terrorizing these poor people in Great Britain. You wonder how in the world the British Empire got as powerful as it did. Because right now, the British Empire is being conquered by chickens. Anyway, the article over at inews.co.uk, you can Google it and just find Jersey is being terrorized by 100-strong gangs of feral chickens, waking up locals and chasing joggers. Unbelievable. Okay, so last but not least, I saw this article, and this was just neat. I thought I'd share it with you guys. Adventure in Arkansas, exploring the natural state, shows a lot of off-road vehicles. This was filmed not far from where we live. This is the majority of the roads where I live. The county I live in has 2,700 square miles of dirt road, I believe, in the county. 2,500 square miles, something like that. A lot of dirt roads, and people who are coming out and from the cities and saying, hey, this is great, let's take our toys out here and drive around. But this is how the majority of vehicles look like who live here anyway. You need to have 10-ply tires and four-wheel drive to get by here, and people who disagree usually quickly find out otherwise, that you need 10-ply tires and four-wheel drive on your vehicles. Yeah, so it's kind of a neat article. You can find this over at, fourwheeler.com. Just Google Adventure in Arkansas, exploring the natural state, if you want to get a better idea and view of where I live and things that there are to do here. But it's just funny that this is someone's toy that he brings out to play with where I live. For the rest of us, this is, daily life. All right. Anyway, let's go back over to the chat room and over at DLive. Listen, guys, if you want me to participate in the chat, you need to go ahead and go over to the link at DLive.tv/AnAmericanHomestead. Or just /American Homestead. Link is in the description over at YouTube and Facebook if that's where you're watching this video from. I'm going to go ahead. Actually, I'm not there. I think everything should be going okay. I did hear some lemons come in and some follows. Appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and come over to the chest. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go ahead and turn my audio down on that. Hugo Escobar sent an ice cream. Appreciate that, Hugo. Love you. Thanks so much. I'm going to go ahead before we do this and go to the screen so you can see. If you're watching on Facebook, you can see what DLive looks like. This is DLive right now. The chat room is over to the right-hand side. Iron Shield, Zach, grow any onions this year? Funny you should ask that, Iron Shield, because let me show you. Let me take the camera over here and show you. Wait. I got to go over to my other. Hold on. Look at that. Look at those onions. Them's are some onions. So what I'm going to do after this video is I'll be going out there. I may do another live podcast showing everyone how I'm going to be braiding those onions and getting those onions ready for hanging. They've been spending the last couple of days on the deck drying, and they're kind of dried out by now. And so those onions are going to be braided today. At least I'm going to begin attempting to do that. And yeah, I'll be attempting to do that today and getting those up. DLive is nice. So, yes, it is nice. This is where I will do the chats from now on. If you're interested, if you're in Facebook right now and you're watching me, hit that DLive link. If you're over at YouTube, hit that DLive link. Because if you want to participate in the trivia, you're going to have to be over at DLive. Okay? Over at DLive. Now you can see at the DLive screen, it's kind of repeated a couple times. That's okay. I can kill my productivity, Hugo says. I like morning streams better, says Hugo. Hey, I appreciate the ice cream. Hey, listen, so here's what we're going to do. First thing before we do the trivia is I am going to, thanks April Ray, I appreciate that. Connie, appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to go over to the, we're going to submit that. We're going to go ahead and log in, continue, you're all set, return to merchant. Okay, so now we have 50 Lino tokens inside of the chest, and we're going to distribute them. Distribute rewards. So let's see. Hey, listen, I'm going to give you guys another minute or two to get over here to DLive. If you haven't signed up yet, get over to DLive, and then I'm going to go ahead and distribute these rewards. You can have your first cryptocurrency. If you've never had a cryptocurrency before, you're about to get some now, or about to have a chance to get some right now. I'm going to distribute these Lino tokens out to random people. It will just pick out whoever it wants to go to. Let's see. Let me drop over to... Yeah, so you can see we're going to be distributing these tokens in just a minute, then we'll do the trivia question. The trivia question is going to be easy today. Then we'll wrap up the stream. We'll do about a half-hour stream, and then I'll see you guys later. I got some other videos to do. I got to do a Jaimie update for the patrons, and then also we'll do maybe a live video today on braiding the onions. I have braided garlic before. I have never braided onions because I did not have as many as I have this year. I'll go over all that in the video to come. Okay. All right, folks. All the screen repeats is trippy. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and distribute the rewards. I hope you're here. If you're coming over from Facebook or YouTube, here we go. Distribute rewards. You are now distributing the rewards. Chest rewards will distribute in 23 seconds. giving lemons and getting treasure chests open. Well, I'm trying to give back for those of you who are donating your lemons. So the way you earn lemons here is to go ahead and participate in the chat, participate in viewing the live stream, and DLive will give you Lino tokens. Lino tokens are a cryptocurrency. They can be cashed out with PayPal or Bitcoin if you live. So WeTree Bonsai, because WeTree definitely participates a lot. So 29.3, Iron Shield 17.2, and Hugo Escobar 12.7. So very cool. There's your Lino tokens. 59.3 Lino tokens distributed to those in the chat. So I think basically you see, I won the lottery. You want to participate. That's the idea about DLive. You want to participate. You want to watch the videos and just give your 2 cents, comment, and all that. So, all right, let's go ahead and do the trivia question. The trivia question today is, and I will be looking at the DLive chat to see who gets this. Let me go over here real quick. Okay. How many days does it take for a chicken to hatch? That's the trivia question. How many days does it take for a trivia? How many days does it take for a chicken to hatch? How many days? Winner gets the Nixall First Aid Solution. Nixall First Aid Solution. 21. Kenny Johns wins it. Kenny Johns. Hugo Escobar says 100. WeTree was close second. Kenny Johns, you win. Go ahead and do me a favor. Go over to An American Homestead's AnAmericanHomestead.com. Hit the contact page. Send me your address information, and I'll get this out to you this week. Or maybe next week. It may come out Tuesday. We only go to the town twice a week or so to put out mail. So probably Tuesday this will go out, but you won the Nixall First Aid Solution. Nixall is our sponsor, not because they want it to be, but because I said so. They don't pay me anything to be a sponsor, but I love their products. I've been using them for years, and they have had an amazing effect on Jaimie during this whole process. And so, and I just had a sheep the other day. Whose hoof was really cut up. I mean, it must have cut it up on a wire or something. I mean, it's like the hoof was almost being torn off of her leg. And she was limping really bad. I brought her over. I cleaned the wound, and I sprayed some of the Nixall gel solution, which is like this, but it's in a different bottle. That's for farm animals or animals, but it's basically the same thing. Sprayed that on, and I cleaned it real good, sprayed that on, and she's walking around basically fine right now. You can barely notice the limp. Her hoof has basically all healed. It's amazing. I love the Nixall stuff. I love it. Okay, that is it for today. Excuse me while I go online and order some more. Yeah, I just ordered another gallon of it. It's not cheap, guys. It's expensive. The gallon cleanser. And disinfectant. Understand that the cleanser and disinfectant is completely the same thing, but they can't ship disinfectant to some states, Arkansas being one of them. So if they send you cleanser and you order the disinfectant, understand it's the same thing. It just has a different bottle label based on a bunch of lawyers screwing everything up for everyone else who just wants, life to be simple. But that's just the way it is today. All right. Thanks, guys, for follows. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. If you're on Facebook and YouTube, next time go over to DLive. Check it out and subscribe to that platform. And because that's where I'm going to be when I do my podcast. I'll stream on Facebook and YouTube, but I'm only going to respond to chats over at DLive. All right, guys. To kill a sinus infection. Yes, neti pot and Nixall, man, it works amazing. I've been using that to kill. I get sinus infections sometimes. And man, neti pot, Nixall, and water, salt water, boom, knocks it out. It's amazing. I love Nixall. All right, guys. See you next time in the homestead. Love you guys. Bye.